one night we had Marco Pierre White come in. He said, "Do you mind if I have some of your brisket?" I said, "Well, of course you can, Marco." So he had some, and he's like, "Holy fuck, mate, that's the best fucking brisket I've ever tasted."
This is the Deep in the Weeds podcast. I'm Anthony Huckstep. A small fascination in food can set you off on a path to a new world of discovery. It can lead you to immerse yourself in a new culture. It can lead you to discover new cooking techniques, new ingredients, and new ways to socially interact. It can also lead you to change careers and dive deep into the world of hospitality. Anton Hughes is the owner of soon-to-be-opened The Corner in Woy Woy, New South Wales. Anton, how are you?
Hey, I'm good, thanks. How are you, Huck?
Good. Good to have you on the show. You're bursting to open a cafe, but there's some restrictions at the moment. What's it been like putting together a new cafe in this climate?
Well, this one's exciting. I haven't built a cafe from scratch. I've done the the restaurant side of things, but this is like it's a mini hole in the wall type deal. It's just me, just room for me and no one else pretty much in there. So it's going to be a tight squeeze, but that's exciting.
Your whole career in hospitality was a real shift out of a career that you formerly had, and we can dive into sort of what you have done in hospitality. But you were originally an audio engineer. When did the sort of change to happen for you to move towards hospitality?
Well, I was studying audio engineering. I did like live mixing. I was a muso playing in bands. I was also I got into writing a lot of production music for television and things. I had a little punk rock teddy bear band called Teddy Rock through ABC Kids.
Wow.
Which was really cool, and that was going to be my big thing, you know. And then with further ABC funding cuts, that was at the time when Bananas and Pajamas got cut as well. We were just about to do a TV series. We'd done like several kids' TV albums. One was called Never Mind the Bedtime. We were just working on parallel rhymes. It was all like for Gen X parents, really. But anyway, that sort of fell over, and all of a sudden there was no one to talk to at ABC Studios, and it was devastating. I was also working in a CD DVD distribution centre, and I saw the writing on the wall real quick, and so I jumped ship. Was going to open a place down in bottom of King Street that fell through at the 11th hour. And weirdly, via Instagram, I saw Anthony Paharich's post about his new smoker being installed at the fish markets. And through my love of American BBQ, I cheekily said, "Hey, mate, if you need anyone, I'm your man." And the rest is history.
Wow. Well, let's go back a step, because you said your love of American barbecue. Would take us to where that started.
Look, just traveling through the States when I was younger, I suppose. And, in those days it wasn't the big thing that it is now. I actually, believe it or not, haven't been back to Texas to enjoy what's there now. When I went through the States, it was all kind of hidden in the back, so it was still quite a mystery. And then when you're trying to replicate those flavors, it was so hard because there was no YouTube. There was no, which is weird to think now, and you're reading everything from books.
Well, tell us about some of the adventures and experiences that you had over there that inspired you.
Well, funnily enough, one of the greatest places, I don't even know the name of it now, but it was a place in LA that had like brisket and pulled pork and all of these, new flavor sensations to me. And that was just a fleeting chance, it was like, holy shit, what is this? And even then, like the staff didn't want to tell you anything. Now, everyone, the way food has changed now, everyone wants to tell you everything. But back then, it was all so secret. And it was a mystery. And I came back with it was still a mystery. So I came back, bought myself a barbecue with the hood, which was a new thing, new gas barbecue with a hood. And I was doing the smoking chips and the little box and soaking them in wine and bourbon and all that kind of crap that just doesn't really work. Just trying to replicate things. And it wasn't until I went to a little mum and pop store in Leichhardt called Barbecue Aroma and bought myself a Huck Tri-Fire offset smoker, and that just changed everything.
Well, tell us a bit about that, because there'll be a lot of people that don't know about American barbecue and the magic behind it.
Yeah, okay. So what we're dealing with basically is a labour of love. It's cooking something for a long time at a low heat. You're learning a lot about smoke and heat and and temperature control over 12 to 16 hours. You're not cooking in a kitchen, you're cooking outside for all that time. You're trying not to drink too much. Yeah, because, they're synonymous, right? Barbecue and beer. But, yeah, it was a real eye-opener for me. And it was something that I realised that I had a passion and, dare I say, a talent for. And so it was just everything just sort of fell in place with meeting Anthony at Vic's Meats, who I really hit it off with from the outset. So yeah, I had to think and work fast and pull my shit together.
Well, American barbecue is varied across the US. What sort of American barbecue are you cooking?
Well, you start off with your Texas type, your beef. So you learn about, I guess what I started with was going that Carolina style. So you're doing your pork, you're doing your pulled pork. And once you master your pulled pork, which is, as we all know, it's kind of overcooked meat. But once you learn that and you master that, then you go your pork ribs and you're doing chicken, and then you can move up to beef short ribs and those kind of cuts, and then the holy grail is your brisket, of course, which when we started it was like $4 a kilo. Then it was ridiculously cheap because it was a secondary cut, especially in Australia. But trying to master that, and then and I'd only cooked probably 2 briskets prior to starting at Vic's. But I wanted to do it. It was a passion. It was a passion there that I needed to nail it, and did. So then, and then there was trying to incorporate some other, meats like lamb, which wasn't done in the States. They don't really eat lamb at all. So, working how that works, in a smoker, because of our love for lamb over here, which, it's fantastic.
You mentioned that you cheekily posted to Anthony Baharich from Vic's Meats on Instagram. What was his response, and how did those early conversations happen to create what you guys created?
Well, it was because I think he appreciated the cheekiness of my post, just saying, "Hey mate, I'm your man," type deal, which some people might balk at and go, "What a wanker," but I really was up against the wall. I was like, as I said, my project fell apart at the 11th hour. So yeah, I was freaking. So I had nothing to lose, everything to gain, and so yeah, Anthony was like, "Hey mate, message me," and so I did, and then we had several phone calls. I went and saw him at Vic's at Mascot when they used to do the market days there. And went and chatted with them, and we just really hit it off. He already had Wes Griffiths earmarked for the Smokehouse as well. So I met up with Wes. We knew each other through, music scene. It was, we just went from there. And it was all like both barrels blazing. Here we go.
Well, tell us about the early days there. You mentioned that you'd only cooked brisket twice before taking on the role there. What were some of the challenges and hurdles you had to get over in those early days when you first opened?
No, it was tough because, we were cooking through the night, starting at 9 at night and, for service 10 o'clock the next morning. So, that was something totally new. Learning on the fly. We started just doing, the pulled pork sandwich, American style pulled pork sandwiches, and then moved up into to other things. So during those cooking processes, we were able to, fortunately, with having the butchers right next door, who some of them had been at Victor Churchill, so they were fantastic to talk to, and you learn so much from people when you share a common interest, and they were interested in the whole smoking process as well. Being able to take the time and try various cuts while you're working was just so fortuitous to me. We just had to literally take the bull by the horns and get fucking good, because all of a sudden, through Vic's, they supply some of the top end restaurants. So of course, next thing you know, you've got Luke Mangan coming in to try what you're doing, Bill Granger, Matt Moran, Colin Fasnich, Peter Gilmore, Neil Perry, they're all coming in through the door talking to you, and you're just going, holy shit. So you really had to pull your socks up and get bloody good.
That connection you mentioned with the butchers next door, how important is the quality of meat you're using for American barbecue?
Well, look, I guess like the origins of American style barbecue, the Texas style is, secondary cuts and, making them good. But I mean, it still helps to have a decent quality cut of meat, You can make a crappy piece of meat taste pretty good, but when you get a nice, Marvel Score 9 brisket, it's like nothing's like it, it was just incredible to be able to talk to those butchers and learn about what cuts come from where, because as I said before, like there wasn't really much on YouTube, or we were just learning from those guys, and being able to walk through the butchers with them in the mornings before they'd even opened, and talk about, oh, maybe we should try smoking this, maybe we should try that, and talking to them about making the Texas style hot link sausages and things like that with all the brisket trim. That was all new to them, so there was a common fascination with the whole low and slow cooking process. And Anthony sort of gave us free rein as well. He was like, well, go for it, because this is my showcase. I want this to shine. So he instilled a great level of trust in us to make things work.
Was there a moment that you remember where you finally nailed the brisket, being the holy grail? Was there a turning point when you realized, okay, we've got this now? Yeah. This was like one of those moments when we used to do a lot of demonstration type things and functions in the Smokehouse area at night, because at that time there was a Tepana joint to it as well, showcasing what Vic's had in the Wagyu range. So one night we had Marco Pierre White come in to do a cooking demonstration. So he was there the whole day, as I was. And so he just came over and started chatting with me, and he was the loveliest guy. And he said, do you mind if I have some of your brisket? And I said, well, of course you can, Marco. So he had some, and he's like,
holy fuck, mate, that's the best fucking brisket I've ever tasted. And that was like, wow. And I just felt, I remember feeling like the blood just rushed from my head. I was like, fuck, just about fainted, like, wow, Marco just said. So that was my big moment.
Apart from lamb, are there any other Australian touches you've added to your style of American barbecue?
Absolutely, absolutely. Down the track, I ended up with smoking crocodile.
Wow.
Yeah, and that was again something that sort of I flippantly just mentioned in an interview at one point when I opened Hughes Barbecue after bovine and swine. I was just driving and I received this phone call on the hands free, just going, "Oh yeah, it's going to be modern Oz smoke, this, that, and the other. We're going to be doing crocodile, kangaroo, la la la," and suddenly that became the feature um, in the headline. And I was like, oh fuck, now I've got to do this. I've got to pull this off. So, and when you buy yourself a crocodile tail, you get one shot. So managed to pull that off, and that was great fun. Again, it's just having fun. I've been fortunate to just enjoy myself the whole time and take the time, not put myself under too much pressure, even though I do seem to do that. But just learning, listening to other people's advice, and we started doing pork cheeks, we started doing beef cheeks, introduced a vegan smoker. So I was doing smoked jackfruit, eggplant and stuffed mushrooms and things like, even though, I'm a hardcore carnivore, but I respect individuals' choice, and I really enjoy the challenge. So, to this day, I still have a vegan smoker tucked away somewhere, ready to go. Because why not?
Barbecue is known for being low and slow. How low and slow are we talking?
You're talking low as in 225 Fahrenheit. And we do talk Fahrenheit because it's American barbecue. And Fahrenheit tastes better than barbecue. But I actually read somewhere Fahrenheit for outdoors cooking and Celsius for indoors cooking, which kind of, I don't know, I work with that. But anyway, 225 Fahrenheit. What's that in Celsius? About 110 or something. So you're doing that over 12 hours, or when the meat's ready, it'll tell you.
Well, what are the telltale signs?
Some of the telltale signs are when the meat's finally, especially with a brisket, when the meat's finally relaxed and your meat probe sinks in like butter. So that's when you're going, wow, that's ready. And in the States, many of them don't use meat probes. They'll use a steel skewer or rod and just press that in gently. And when that feels right, they know it's cooked. The other side of it, of course, is the resting period. Because it's another hour of resting meat once it's done. So you have that wrapped, and it still cooks. It still cooks for an hour after you pulled it out from the oven, from the smoker.
You briefly mentioned bovine and swine, which was the step away from Vic's in Newtown. Tell us how that eventuated and why you created it.
Oh, look, it was always a plan to have our own, or have my own restaurant. And same with my then business partner Wes. We just wanted to do something ourselves without the restrictions of working for another business. We wanted the freedom to do what we wanted, how we wanted to do it. It also gave us the opportunity to do events and festivals, get a smoker trailer together and doing that. It just gave us more freedom. I mean, I felt awful leaving Vic's because I loved it so much, and the opportunities that arose from there. But sometimes you've just got to, you just have to move on. Bovine and swine, we opened that to great success. We had queues down the road. We were selling out within an hour and a half. Yeah, it was amazing. It was just a great opportunity to try doing things our way. As I said, that opened the possibilities to doing events and festivals and that sort of thing, because everyone wanted to know about smoked meats then.
Did your cooking change in that time?
It did. We were experimenting then with cooking at a higher temperature, lower temperatures. Again, introducing other cuts like lamb and so forth. It just meant we had to. We were responsible, and that responsibility meant a lot. I think that was what we both needed mutually. And then from there, like I did a year and a half there. Felt like I needed to do my own thing, and expand on what I was doing. I was always in love with other cultures, char grilling and things like that. Like a lot of Asian flavors and things that I knew would work in a smoker. And the whole mantra with bovine and swine was very strict, traditional Texas style barbecue. And as I said, my passion was more elsewhere. So introducing, as I said previously, crocodile and duck breast was really popular in the beef cheeks and pork cheeks. And of course, obviously, like I'd said before, the vegan side of smoked foods was just exciting, and again, I was responsible for myself.
You mentioned that pulled pork is just overcooked meat. Is there a different way that you prefer to cook pork with the low and slow method?
Yeah, we do. I do like it was a North Carolina style, which is a chopped pork. So you don't cook it as far, and then when you chop it to order and stir through your like a Carolina sauce, I use a Carolina like a gold Carolina sauce, which is mustard and apple cider vinegar with some other ingredient. Yeah, just so you stir that through as you're chopping, so you've got that moisture rather than your pulled pork.
These days you're on the central coast of New South Wales. What triggered that move away from Sydney?
Oh, look, it's been probably a 30 odd year love affair with the Central Coast. Before I was involved in hospitality, I was always talked out of it. Oh, you'd hate the commute, blah blah blah. Oh, it's so bogan, blah blah blah. Yeah, and when I was looking to move up here, I just, there was an opportunity. I just jumped at it. I didn't have any ties to the city apart from my son. So he's old enough to come up on every other weekend. I just wanted to come up here and concentrate on my next project, which was smack salt.
Wow. Tell us about that.
Well, that sort of was born from Hughes Barbecue when I was doing a smoked salt product and selling that to customers, and I couldn't keep up with it. I couldn't keep up with the demand because I was obviously had the restaurant, and then I was trying to do the smoked salt, and it was just, everyone wanted it. So I thought, there's something in this. I'd been looking up other flavors. I didn't want to do barbecue rubs. Everyone expected me to do barbecue rubs. I wanted to do something different, and again, push myself into something that was relatively new. So yeah, then that was my love with like doing flavored culinary salts. Really,
were there challenges involved creating them?
Yeah, getting those flavors right it's costly when you're starting new. Yeah, I mean, you don't know where you're going. Costing things out, learning to cost things out is, gosh, that's just so hard sometimes. There was one of my smoked salt products. I realised I was losing money on each sale because I just hadn't priced it correctly. You idiot. yeah, it's just something that I've another passion, and that's still going. I'm rekindling that in the next couple of months once I get my new cafe up and running.
Well, you do have the new cafe, which we can talk about in a sec. But what's the last year and a half been like for you? What were you doing when the pandemic hit, and what impact has it had on you?
Oh, I ended up co-owning two cafes here in Woy Woy, Lincoln Pin, and during the pandemic, yeah, it was that was tough because we'd gone from a staff of sort of 10 down to the two co-owners. And that was tough, and that meant working 7 days just to get some income. We weren't eligible for any assistance, so yeah, we had to make that work. We just had to knuckle down and get on, and we weren't getting on, but we had to get on, if you know what I mean. So we made that work, and that was tough. And then came December this last year, and we'd both just needed to get out, so we sold those businesses on, and that's where I am today. Just about to do something, jump into another venture.
Well, tell us about this new venture, The Corner, and how it started. And it's going to be just you as well in a box.
Yeah. This is the first time I've done something just on my own. It's during my time at the previous cafe, I was good mates with a local pizza joint called Tropicana Pizza, aka Tropicana Social Club. They've recently moved to larger digs down the road, bought their property, and alongside there is a little hole in the wall shop. They've offered it to me. They made an offer I can't refuse, and I've just gone, you know what? This is an opportunity to have some bloody good fun, doing some fun stuff, slinging good coffee on the coast, and create some really cool gourmet toasties.
Will American BBQ feature amongst those toasties?
You know it will. I can't turn my back on that. Absolutely. Briskets on the menu, as is the aforementioned chopped pork. I'm just going to have some fun with it.
In the US, barbecue is like a religion. Do you think it will head that direction in Australia?
I think it's not far off that now. As I mentioned, when I first got started, there was one little mum and pop store selling smokers, because Barbecues Galore was all about the gas grills and stuff. Now you go into a Barbecues Galore or even a Bunnings, and there's a whole section devoted to smoking and pizza ovens and all of that sort of thing. And you just think, wow, 5 years ago, that wasn't like that. So I think we're definitely getting there, which is fantastic. It's awesome. It's exciting. And I'm one of those people. I don't have any secrets in my cooking. I love to help and educate where I can,
Well, what's the biggest tip that you can give anyone starting out and trying to smoke meats?
The biggest tip I would have is cook something decent. Don't rush into brisket. Try doing something else first. Master your heat, smoke, temperature controls. And also a rub isn't a rub. Don't rub your rub. Pat it.
So Texas has a barbecue style. The Carolinas have their own style. How would you describe the Woy Woy barbecue style?
The Woy Woy style. The Woy Woy style is a bit hotter and faster because we just don't have time. I'm now cooking at around 300 Fahrenheit instead of 225. So I because I have to nut things out in about 6 to 7 hours. And that's I'm pretty happy with the results of that. So yeah, I'm hotter and faster.
Well, you're not far off opening a cafe on your own for the first time. What are you most looking forward to when you swing the doors open?
Uh, I think just as I said before, just having some bloody good fun with being creative on the menu, integrating what I know, what I love, and hopefully seeing enjoyment from customers, with what I have to offer.
Well, Anton, we've loved having you on Deep in the Weeds today to hear your story. Good luck with the corner and Woy Woy, and keep in touch, and we'll catch up again soon.
Awesome. Thanks for the opportunity, Huck. Take care.
This is the Deep in the Weeds podcast. I'm Anthony Huckstep. Stay tuned as we take a deep dive into the lives of the incredible people who ply their trade in the food and hospitality sector. Special thanks to executive producer Rob Locke for making this all happen. Follow us on Instagram at Deep in the Weeds Podcast, or email us at podcast@deepintheweeds.com.au. Stay safe and be well.